Greetings, class! Today we will be talking about participants in a research study, or more specifically, how they are chosen through sampling methods to be part of a sample. But first, what exactly is a participant? A participant is a person taking part in a psychological study. A group of participants forms a sample, the nature of which can greatly affect the accuracy of the findings of the study. Sampling is the process and methods through which a researcher chooses the sample for the study, the goal of which is to obtain a representative sample, which is a sample that is representative of the target population, which is the specific social group that the researchers are interested in studying. There are multiple different sampling methods, which include opportunity sampling, self-selected sampling, snowball sampling, random sampling, and stratified sampling. All of the aforementioned sampling methods are used accordingly so as to suit the aims of the study. I will explain the reasons why these different methods are used for various reasons in this flipped video and the strengths and weaknesses of these methods. Let's start off with one of the simplest sampling methods, opportunity sampling. Opportunity sampling involves recruiting participants from a pre-existing social group. A benefit of using the sampling method is the ease at which participants can be found. However, opportunity sampling may lead to biased results as it only takes participants from a given community, which may not be an accurate representation of the target population due to gender, cultural, or socioeconomic imbalances which exist naturally in communities. This means that results gathered from opportunity sampling cannot be generalized. The next method I'll be talking about is self-selected sampling, a method that involves recruiting a sample made up of volunteers. Noted advantages of this sampling method include the easy obtainment of a sample, who are likely to be highly motivated as they are partaking in the study of their own volition. On the other hand, volunteer samples rarely reflect the general population. For example, in a study on the drinking habits of teenagers, students who volunteer to take part are more likely to be those who abstain from substance use, while those who do drink may be unlikely to volunteer due to shame and thus will not report their behavior truthfully. Therefore, the results gathered from a self-selected sample may not be a truthful reflection of the target population. The third method of sampling is snowball sampling. Funny name, right? Doesn't really make sense with what it implies, but it's catchy at least. Like a snowball gradually gathering more snow as it rolls down a slope, snowball sampling is when people recruit their friends to participate in a study. Snowball sampling not only effectively saves time, it also establishes trust between the researcher and the participant. That is to say, if your friend trusted the researcher enough to recommend that you take part in the study, you are more likely to believe that the researcher is trustworthy. However, as people tend to form social relationships with those similar to themselves, having a sample composed solely of a single participant's social circle would not be representative of a larger population, which may thus lead to biased results. You may have noticed by now that all three of the aforementioned sampling methods lack population validity. That is to say, the results gathered from such sampling methods may not accurately reflect a larger population. However, there are two more sampling methods which aim to minimize bias in results. They are random sampling and stratified sampling. Random sampling is a sampling method in which any given member of a population has an equal chance of being chosen to partake in the study. It is considered to be the most desirable sampling method as it is assumed that if the sample gathered is large enough, then it will contain all the characteristics of the people which make up the population. Thus, behaviors observed in a random sample are assumed to be representative of a larger population. This makes it easier to generalize findings from random sampling. Nevertheless, random sampling may not always be successful at eliminating bias, as some groups may be overrepresented in the sample as compared to others. In order to have a sample that truly reflects the diversity of a population, researchers may choose to use stratified sampling. In stratified sampling, random samples are taken from each subpopulation within the target population. This sampling method helps prevent the overrepresentation of some subpopulations over others, thus allowing the results of the study to more accurately reflect the whole population.